Evening everybody. Well, tonight we're going to take a look at adding and subtracting polynomials. This is pretty straightforward. The thing that you really need to focus on is that you can only add or subtract a monomial which is identical to the other monomial. So x squared can only be added to x squared, yx can only be added to yx, etc. So the monomial has to be identical. So just the same way you can only add apples to apples and oranges to oranges, the same thing applies to the polynomials. So with that said, well, let's get started. Okay, so here you can see that I've drawn a picture to represent 3x squared. So I have 1, 2, 3 x's squared. X times x would give me x squared. I have 2 x's, 1, 2, and I have the number 5 represented by 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Here I have an x squared, x times x. I have a negative x, and then I have 4 negative numbers. And I've written it like this just so you can see that the only way that you could add these 3 objects is to find an object which is exactly the same. This is exactly the same. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 of these objects, which is 4x squared. I have 2 of these objects, which represent 2x, and I have a negative one of these. So 2 minus 1 is 1x, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minus 4 gives me plus 1. Now obviously that takes quite a bit of time to draw the pictures, and I just wanted to have you see that one time. And now we're going to take a look at how we do this mathematically without the drawings. So here we have negative 5x squared plus 2x squared plus 5x. And the way I'd like you to do this is just to rewrite it so that you are adding the like terms directly underneath each other. So this is an x squared, this is an x squared. We have negative 5x squared plus positive 2x squared, which is going to give me negative 3x squared plus 5x. Okay, let's take a look at another one. Here we have 5x squared minus 3x minus 6, and we're adding x squared plus 3x plus 6. So I'm just going to add x squared plus 3x plus 6. I have 5 and 1 gives me 6x squared. So you can see that the exponents don't add. We're not adding. This is not multiplication here. I have 5 groups of x squared and 1 group of x squared, which gives me 6 groups of x squared. Negative 3x plus 3x gives me 0, and negative 6 plus 6 gives me 0. So that is 6x squared. X squared plus 2x minus negative 4x minus 4x squared plus x. Now this is where things can get really tricky when you're dealing with the negative sign. So we're subtracting negative 4x plus x, 4x squared, sorry. We are subtracting all of this from this. X minus negative, minus a negative is a positive, gives me 5x squared. 2x minus x gives me 1x. 2x minus x gives me 1x. And I'm done. But just be careful here. This negative, remember, it's subtracting not only this, but it's also subtracting this. Okay, so we've looked at some examples here. Let's go on to con and take a look at some more complicated examples, and then we'll go on. 1 second, please. Okay, so here we are. We're looking at con, and con has given us a problem that looks like negative 7p to the 7th minus 4p to the 5th, and they want us to add p to the 7th, so I'm going to put that right underneath. It wants us to negative 2p squared and 3p. Okay, so let's take a look at this. We have negative 7p to the 7th. You can see I've put them so the like terms are directly underneath each other. So negative 7p to the 7th plus positive p to the 7th gives me negative 6p to the 7th. I have nothing being added to the p to the 5th. I have nothing being added to the negative 2p squared, and I have nothing being added to the 3p. Life after that gets very easy. I'm just going to come in here, negative 6p, shift to the 7th power, minus 4p, shift to the 5th power, minus 2p, shift to the 2nd power, plus 3p. Okay, and let's see how we did here. Okay, and the last thing we want to do before we click is we're just going to check, and you can see Con has written it really nicely for us now. Negative 6p to the 7th, minus 4p to the 5th, minus 2p squared, plus 3p, and we're going to click on this and check our answer, and we're good to go. Okay, the key on these is you have to make sure you absolutely have the exact same like term. Do we have p to the 7th? Yes, these are the same term. Do I have anything that looks identical to this? And so you're going to have to write this down. You're going to have to make sure that you keep your signs correct. So what I'd like you to do tonight is go on to the Khan Academy, Adding and Subtracting Polynomials. There's a link right below the link for this video, and I'd like you to try 5. I just want you to do 5 problems. Now obviously I hope that you get all 5 correct, but if you don't get 5 correct in a row, don't worry about it, just stop. I just want you to try 5. I want you to write your work down, and I expect it to look something like this. So when you come in tomorrow, I can take a look and see how you get done, and we can get started on practice. So that's it for tonight, and I will see you tomorrow.